Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the fourth chess study of the day. Today's study was composed by Alexei Troitzky in 1895, and if you want to solve this position for yourself, I'd recommend a timer of about 10 minutes to get everything figured out. Now let's get started with the solution here. So the first thing we notice when we're trying to create a solution here is that white has some extra material, a rook and a knight, but black's 3 pawns are really quite close to promoting. And white actually is trying to make a draw here, because for instance, if white plays a natural move like king g2 to stop the promotion, black would play h3 check, and after king f1, h2, uh, h1 queen is a threat, and white couldn't have taken this pawn, by the way, because of f1 equals queen. So after king f1, h2, king g2, then simply f1 the queens, and black's going to win by promoting, and even black will pick up the rook. So king g2 rather isn't going to work, and neither will rook a1 followed by e2 when black promotes. So really, white needs to try and make a draw with various tactical resources in this game. So the first move is pretty easy to understand. White plays knight c5 check, bringing a knight into the defense with check. It definitely makes sense. And black has a lot of king moves here to think about, and we'll go over them one by one. Now the easiest one is king e5, because simply white plays knight d3 check and takes on f2 with a win. e f2, rook f2, and white will just take this pawn and give checkmate. So king e5 is not what black should play. Let's look at king d4. If king d4, white would play king g2. And the difference between this king g2 and the king g2 on move 1 is that after h3, king f1, h2, white plays rook a4 check and rook h4, and white stops the pawns and wins. So that's the difference. And let's check king f4, which is pretty similar. Now white plays knight d3, and after king f1, knight e5, king e4, rook a4, we actually get the same idea. King takes the knight, but white manages to stop all the pawns with rook h4. And this is going to be a winning position for white. So what that tells us is that none of these moves I highlighted, king d4, f4, or e5, are going to work, and they all actually end up losing for black. Now let's check the remaining 3 moves. If king d5, white can make a draw easily with rook takes f2, and after e takes f2, king g2, white's simply going to capture both pawns with the draw. And if king f5, it's really the same thing. Rook takes on f2, king g2 with the draw. And now we lastly check the most natural move, I would say, king f3. So black is threatening to promote, and it's not clear what white should do about it. For instance, if rook a1, then e2, and black is promoting and winning. And so now white needs to find a really nice resource. And the first move is rook takes f2. So if king f2, then white plays king h3, and this is an easy draw. For instance, after e2, knight d3 check, king e3, knight e1, white's threatening to take on h4, and if king d2, then knight g2 followed by king h4, or similarly, if king f2, knight c2 followed by king h4, the draw is pretty easy, I think. So that's to say that black should take e takes f2 in order to be the most challenging here. And one thing you may have considered is knight b3, with the idea that f1 queen is met by knight d2 check. Like, I think this is the first thing most people would think about. Now, this is of course a draw, but the issue is that after knight b3, black plays king e3 and limits this b3 knight, and f1 queen is coming next, and if king g2, then h3 check. King f1, h2, and black wins. With the same theme we've seen a couple of times, where black promotes. Cool. So this is the idea. And knight b3 check isn't going to work. And f1 queen is clearly black's idea. And this can lead us to finding white's great resource here, and the move is knight e4. This is really cool. It's just sacrificing the knight. And once again, f1 queen is met by knight d2 with a draw, and knight takes f2 is a threat, so black has to take. And it looks like black has these two pawns and should win, but when we check the details, white plays king g2, black has to defend the pawn, king f1, and it's amazing, but this position is a draw. So it's kind of like, as we call it in chess, it's called the zugzwang. Black's moves all lead to a draw instantly. Even though if it were white's turn, then king g2, king f1 would win for black. Now, black's king f3 is a stalemate, and so is h3, and every other king move gives up the f2 pawn. So that's why this end position is actually just a draw. Alright, so that's the study, and white just makes a draw in this really cool way. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you tune into the next Chess Study of the Day. Thank you.